When you're paying wages to yourself or your employees, paying superannuation is inevitable. In Xero, you can pay super straight from your bank account with just a couple of clicks. No manual entries, no ABA file, just a few clicks and done. In this video, I'll walk you through how to process a superannuation payment in Xero and, just as importantly, what to quickly check before you approve it, so you can feel confident that what you're paying is actually correct. And if you stick until the end, you will know how to reconcile the payment properly so your balance sheet stays clean and tidy. Okay, now let's process your first superannuation payment in Xero.
We'll navigate to Payroll, then Superannuation. If you're seeing a process flow picture here, you haven't yet registered for automatic superannuation. So first, you do the registration. I have a tutorial that walks you through it. I link it here. Once you've set up Auto Super, come back and you can follow along. So from here, you can click on Add Super Payment. Xero will pull up a list of all unprocessed superannuation amounts that are owing per employee and per pay run. On this screen, each line is a super obligation that was created the moment you posted a pay run. So if you've run 3 fortnightly pays and haven't paid super yet, all superannuation will be sitting here waiting for you. You just need to choose which of these obligations you want to settle in this batch. You've got a few selectors up the top: employee, super fund, employee group, and the due date range. Personally, I most often use the due end date filter. For example, if I know I want to pay everything that is due by the 28th of April, I'll set my end date to that date, and Xero will list me the ones that falls inside that window, and then I just need to choose all of them. You can also order the lines by pay period if you want to pay super for a particular pay period, the due date, the super type, depending on how you prefer to review it. From here, you select the specific lines you want to pay in this batch, or if you're paying everything at once, tick the selector box at the top and select all. Now, before we submit this for payment, this is the point where I always pause and do a few checks, because once this batch is approved, the money is gone. Xero's clearinghouse will direct debit your account automatically. There is no undo after authorization. So I suggest checking first before submitting. First, I generally look at the superannuation accruals report that shows you the super amount that's been accrued over a period. Then I cross-check that with either the Payroll Employee Summary Report or the Payroll Activity Summary Report. What I'm looking for here is simple. Do the totals match what I'm about to pay? And if you want to go one step further, especially if you're paying all outstanding super at once, you can also check your superannuation payable account balance on the balance sheet and confirm the total outstanding balance matches as well. This gives you an extra layer of confidence that nothing is missed or duplicated. If any of those figures don't line up, stop and investigate first. A mismatch here usually means something happened in payroll that needs looking at, and it's far easier to fix it before the money leaves your account. Once you're happy that everything lines up, you can go ahead and click Submit for approval. And this is important. I see people make mistakes here. You must select Submit for approval. Don't click Mark as paid. That button has a completely different function. Submit for approval is what sends the batch into the authorization workflow. Mark as paid is for recording payments made outside of Xero's super system. And if you click it by accident, you indicate Xero that those were already paid and would skip the actual payment process. So take the extra second and click Submit for approval. Once you have submitted the batch for approval, it moves into a pending approval state. At this point, nothing has been debited yet. The batch is sitting there waiting for your nominated approver to authorize it in Xero. Your authorizer will receive a text message with a code. They log into Xero, go to superannuation screen and click on the batch labeled pending approval. They enter the code, and that is the moment the batch is authorized. One thing to be aware of is that superannuation payments cannot be scheduled in Xero. You can't set them to process on a future date. The moment your authorizer approves the batch, the process starts straight away. Also make sure your bank account has enough funds available before you authorize to prevent the direct debit from bouncing back. After approval, Xero Super Clearinghouse takes over. It will automatically direct debit the amount from your nominated bank account and then distribute it to each individual super fund. You can check the status of the payment at any time in the Superannuation tab.
Once the clearinghouse has pulled the funds, the withdrawal will show up in your bank reconciliation screen like any other bank transaction. How you allocate this transaction does matter. You code the bank withdrawal directly to your superannuation payable liability account. You don't record this withdrawal to an expense account because the superannuation expense was already recorded in your account at the moment you posted the pay run. At the same time, a liability was created as superannuation payment, and that liability has been sitting there since, waiting to be settled. When you actually pay the batch, you are not creating a new expense. You are just clearing an existing liability. If you allocate this payment to superannuation expense account, you've just double counted your super in your P&L. And that's not what we want here. So this is a key step. Allocate the payment to superannuation payable and your numbers stay accurate and up to date. And that's it. That is how you process and pay superannuation in Xero. It's not just about getting the payment out. It's about knowing that the numbers behind that payment actually make sense. If you build in those small checks before approval, you are not just completing a task, you are building confidence in your payroll and your reports. And that's what makes your Xero files something you can rely on. If this video helped you, please hit the like button and subscribe for more Xero tutorials. See you next time.